Hi, my name is Mercedes Fortune. I've been in law enforcement for about 22 years. You know, we get asked a lot, what is on our belts? And I can tell you that everything is important in our belts. And so today we're going to talk about the most important thing we use, which is our handcuffs. So today we're going to talk about maintenance, a little bit of the parts onto the handcuff, and how to properly put them on a person. All right, so before we start talking about how to correctly apply the handcuffs on a person, let's talk about the parts of a handcuff. So this first part is going to be the jaw. These are pretty jagged. They're meant to be jagged, so as they enter that double strand, it actually cuts into it or clips onto it. And then there is another similar part to it, obviously the other handcuff itself. And it's connected, obviously, with a chain link, and it actually swivels. And it's just meant for, you know, obviously better control of it. Then we're going to talk about the actual keyhole. It's kind of tiny, but you could see it at night. It's horrible. You can barely see that thing, so you have to have a light. And then next, we're going to talk about the actual double lock mechanism. So you could double lock the handcuffs so that they don't get any tighter, because these are not comfortable. So please don't commit any crimes. And now we'll talk about how to actually correctly use them. So one of the most important things to have before you even bring out your handcuffs is control. You have to make sure that whoever you're going to come in contact with, and if they're going to be under arrest, you have to make sure that you have control of that arm and control of that person. It's obviously a lot easier if you do have a partner, but when you're by yourself, you have to make sure that you maintain control and that your presence, whether it be verbal commands or just the grip, is strong enough so that that person understands that you're in control of the situation. So now that I have control, I'm going to go ahead and remove my handcuffs. And once I have my handcuffs, if you notice, I'm having my handcuffs just like this so that I know that I'm using the top one first. And so as I go into handcuff, you hear that? It's already connected. So it's a quick, you press, and if you notice, I actually pressed right on the bone so that once it cuts through, it's a good force for it to go through, and it's not me trying to do it here or trying to do different things with it. Once you've had control of that arm, you're going to bring the other arm through, and you're actually now going to go ahead and handcuff the other one, and now she's handcuffed. Now, there's different ways to handcuff a prisoner, but the most important thing for right now is always having control, and make sure, like I talked about, is that you double lock that handcuff so that it's not getting tighter on that person. The other important aspect of it, if you're going to be a young officer, you're going to be working nights. And so I will tell you, it's a great idea to have a handcuff key that has a little light, or have a partner with you once you've situated your suspect to make sure that person's able to give you some light so you could see that very tiny little pin drop and also the keyhole. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the handcuffs. And that was the correct application of the actual handcuff. And see, like I said, it's been a while. After 22 years, you forget where the other keyhole is. But I found it, so I'm successful today. Okay, one of the most important things that as officers in Arizona, obviously the heat and humidity and monsoon season. So our equipment gets wet and gets moisture all the time. So one of the biggest things that we have to remember is that these are metal, so they will rust. So when we're out there, we have to make sure that we take them out, we inspect them to make sure that they're, you know, the jaw is going in without a problem. There's no brown, you know, obviously the buildup of rust. And if we see that, we need to use a little brush, clean them up, and then use a little bit of oil to get them moving again. Another thing that I've learned along the years is that you're given these tiny little keys when you become a brand new cop and you wonder what are you going to do with that. There's another one that I've had. I think I keep them for memory's sakes. And so then I prefer that key instead. It's easier to handle. You know, my hands are small, but it's just easier for me to grab this one. And they all have the same pin that we talked about for the double locking mechanism that goes in. All keys have them, and so if you notice, that little key has it too. It's kind of small, but you see it on there. I hope you found this video useful, and obviously there's more into handcuffing techniques. There's different techniques that could be used at different situations depending on what that suspect is doing and the suspect's actions. But until then, we'll see you on the next one.